power's off because it's gone out in the whole town?
Yeah, the whole town's lost its power, and therefore there's a different electrical effect in the room currently, we think. So we'd like you to go in and experience, well, not so much experience, get the feel of the room now, and when the power's on again later, to see if you think that room feels different later on with the electrical energy running through it, basically.
The demon room, all right. Okay, well, let's go. So the White Hart Hotel. Ghosts, possessions, demons.
Monks, little girls with candles.
I hear there's even a Jack the Ripper connection.
Yeah, there's also a pedophile that possesses you. You sure you want to go in?
Sure. Possession by pedophile?
Yeah.
Just once. Couldn't we get possession by Playboy Bunny?
You want to be a female with really big boobs?
To dream.
Awkward.
You said it.
Well, this must be the room.
Dining room.
The dining room. Shall I knock or shoot? Let's knock together. Hello. Mrs. Sadler's husband? Dave Sadler. Good evening, sir. Good evening. Good evening.
Hi.
Dave.
See you again. Yeah. Take care.
The White Hart Hotel in Uttoxeter, England, is an historic property with myriad ghost stories associated with it. Holly and I were lucky to be working with our very good friends from the Unknown Phenomena Investigation Association. As they began their preparations for the evening with their usual thoroughness, she and I went downstairs to chat with Graham Ferguson, the manager of the hotel, about some of the more interesting paranormal stories associated with the property.
I've had experiences here at the White Hart ever since I've been here. I sit behind reception, and out the corner of your eye you just see what looks like a child running up the stairs, and you go to him, where are you going? You're not meant to be up there, and realise there's absolutely nothing there. He's also got a distinct smell to him, of Play-Doh smell. So if he's around and he's playing, you can smell Play-Doh. No one can ever explain why we get that smell. Upstairs in the area that's known as the torture chamber, there's been reported sightings of blood on the shower curtain. So you go up and you check the room and there's not anything else anywhere on the shower curtain, nothing that you could say, well, perhaps that's what they've thought is blood. They're totally clean. You go back down to the guest and go, are you sure you've seen blood on the shower curtain? He says, yeah, it's all over it. So you take the guest back up and say, can you show me where? There's nothing on them.
Along with the many areas of the hotel that had reports of ghosts, there was also a room that had alleged manifestations of what Graham ominously referred to as demonic activity.
Through the investigations we've done in the past, it turns out there's a lady there that was forced to have an abortion, that didn't want to have an abortion because she got pregnant out of wedlock and didn't believe in him, and she's meant to target ladies that have had, personal issues in the past.
The White Hart Hotel was clearly a location with a lot of reported paranormal activity. As we were discussing with the UPIA where to start the investigation, the power in the entire town went out. This gave us the perfect opportunity to start in the so-called demonic room, because if anything weird did happen here, it wouldn't be because of electromagnetic fluctuations.
This is the room that the demon is supposedly...
Yeah. Apparently it's been reported that demonic activity takes place in that
And
room.
the power's off because it's gone out in the whole town?
Yeah, the whole town's lost its power, and therefore there's a different electrical effect in the room currently, we think. So we'd like you to go in and experience, well, not so much experience, get the feel of the room now, and when the power's on again later, to see if you think that room feels different later on with the electrical energy running through it, basically.
The demon room, all right. Okay, well, let's go. This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the one.
demon haunted.
How do you feel?
Where's the hot spot supposed to be? Where's the place you're supposed to stand?
Do you have any, like, anything?
Nope.
I don't like this room. I mean, it's a gorgeous room, but I was standing right here. I didn't tell them this. And I was just like, there's something wrong with this space. It's just blah. My head did that. Anyway, the whole bed itself actually is surrounded by bad levels of EMF. But with the power off right now, you're gonna lie on it. That's fantastic. With the power off, they're not detecting any of the EMF in this room that they were getting before. Now it feels different. It doesn't feel as strange, but this room still hurts my head. It's weird, even though the EMF levels have dropped.
So what did you feel?
It's awkward.
I don't feel anything. It's just a room. No. Hello, demons. Any demons? I was pretty sure that there were no demons in the demon room, at least not while we were there. So we decided to move to another room where there had been reports of paranormal activity and where Steve and Dave from the UPIA had set up a little experiment with their EMF meters.
It's you, man.
Right, Paul and Holly, basically we've got a unique opportunity, one that we probably never have before, and it's unlikely we'll ever have again, to investigate certain parts of the building for certain things in particular today. The town has had a power cut, amazingly, brilliantly, and it's given us the opportunity to do a sensor sweep with the EMF equipment in relation to sensor sweeps that we've done previously. And this is, as I say, a fantastic opportunity because we've mapped certain locations of EMF hotspots and we're able to now look into them hotspots and see if they still occurring now the power's off.
And the power's off. It's not even, it looks dark in here, but it's actually still daylight out there.
It's daylight and all the shops and premises locally within quite a wide area. There's been a substation gone down and all the power's gone locally.
All right, well, let's take advantage of this opportunity. Let's start with the bed.
Okay, baby.
That's
Why? With the power in the town off, we had a rare opportunity to run some controlled comparative tests in the torture room to see if perhaps the EMF levels were responsible for the paranormal activity occurring there.
Currently we've got a high EMF, as you can hear. The Gauss meter is registering 4 on the scale.
Sounds like Daleks.
If I try and give it a bit of a rub, etc., etc., it should. That's my hand that I've just discharged with. Yeah. Go higher.
Does that go higher?
And it should be going lower.
Now, what we're talking is that the actual EMF when we first came in here was off the scale. It couldn't even be read on that meter.
Just from the frame? Or
just from the frame. I think Phil can verify that was off the scale, wasn't it?
That was after the power was off?
That was after the power. No, the power was on.
Oh,
at
okay.
that particular time. So you can see the difference between current EMF, which is being induced at the time we're doing the test, and the difference now, if we're actually looking at what we've got now, is very low EMF. So we can say, really, that a lot of it is down to the electrical wiring in place.
So we were actually spiking above 10 milligauss originally. We're down to 4 milligauss when the power's come off, and when we've discharged, we're down to about 2.
Is it still continuing to decrease?
Yeah, it'll decrease over a period of time. It would, if the power stayed off in 2 hours and we come back and measured it, it should be more or less 0.
Over a period of time, through the duration of the night, they're slowly soaking in EMF. High amounts of EMF as well. And over a period of just say 3 hours at 10 milligauss, you're going to start feeling the effects. You're going to start feeling sort of anxious. You might start to think that it's a bit strange and getting a bit of a strange feeling in here.
Well, more than likely, EMF affects the physiology. Electromagnetic frequencies affect the physiology. They're known scientifically to cause different things occur to a person.
hallucinations.
Yeah, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. So what we'd probably say in this instance is that somebody who stays in this bed for a period of time would therefore have some form of EMF effect, some form of effect in relation to the EMF that they're within. So, for instance, if you sleep in here tonight, it's more than likely that you'll start having bad dreams, you'll start thrashing about, you'll cook up in a mood, headache, etc., etc. And it's all basically down to, more or less, an allergy to electricity.
Right. But because the power is off here now,
Yeah.
the reason you're doing this, what makes this a unique opportunity?
Right, this is a unique opportunity because there's no EMF, because there's no power. We can monitor the room in a more or less a natural environment. We've took away the EMF, the unnatural, and we can now monitor it naturally. So later on, if we come back again later on when the power's back on in the building, you should see a high increase in this should be off the scale and in effect.
Right.
Which then again would suggest to me people would experience more activity, maybe paranormal activity.
We took some final EMF readings in the torch room and found that they were the same as the ones we'd previously recorded.
Yeah, it's too sensitive for the put one at the side, so if you just drop it off.
I then headed down to the demon room to check on the trigger items that the UPIA had set up to see if perhaps something paranormal had interacted with them.
Our client is believing that there's demonic activity in this room. We've left a Bible on the bed. Basically because I believe that if we did have a demon in this room, that this would cause some kind of effect.
One would think.
One would think, and because Steve's missing a crucifix, which is what we'd usually use. So we've just left that there and nothing's happened to it, obviously. As on a previous visit, when we left the crucifix on the bed, nothing happened to that either. I would have thought if there were a demon in here, that by now we would have got a bit fed up.
Reacted to it somehow.
Yeah.
Instead, I guess all we're finding is the same EMF reading.
We're just finding this EMF, which is producing the symptoms that Graham's claiming are caused by the demon.
Interesting.
After we had finished our uneventful sweep with the EMF meters and our check of the trigger items in the so-called demon room, we got a call from Dave Sadler to come down to the kitchen, where something interesting had happened.
Okay, this is the upstairs kitchen. The alleged apparition of a young child has been witnessed in this area, and we set up a number of trigger objects to try and coax, if possible, if it's a manifestation that can do things physically, to coax the child to move things. We've got a blackboard with chalk, we've got a magnetic board with numbers, letters and such like on, and we've also got a little jigsaw type thing where they put the bits of things in and out and whatnot. I'm going to hand you over to Steve Mearer now in regards to the event we've just found may have taken place.
I came down to the location about 10 minutes ago and noted that earlier on I actually placed the letters A, B, C on the line on this magnetic board. And when I actually came back to the location, the letter B was off and slightly down at an angle, which I noted that nobody had been in this area because we've been quite strictly controlling it. We've had red tape across the doorway to restrict people from coming in, and the location was left in the dark as well. And about 5 minutes ago we came in here in the dark, we switched on the lights, we came in, we noticed that it was obviously at an angle. So what we've done now is we've set up our own video camera which has infrared, and we're going to be filming in the dark. We're going to exactly the same conditions as to when the phenomena took place. So we're going to leave this particular area in the same conditions, such as no lights on. We put the letter back to where it currently was at the beginning of the night, and basically we're going to leave this area, lock it off again to see if we can get it to happen again.
As Steve and Dave sealed off the kitchen again, I got a report from one of the UPIA investigators, Phil Boardley. Apparently, he had experienced something very similar to one of the paranormal stories that Graham had told us.
As I walked in, I got hit by a blast of the smell of Play-Doh, which is associated here with the ghost of a child which we've nicknamed Thomas. He's quite often seen the smell, he's quite often smelt. I'm a disbeliever in, I'm a skeptic when it comes to ghosts, but I've smelt it now on 2 different occasions here in unexplained circumstances. Upstairs, I got hit by a major blast of it. My eyes were sore, my nose was streaming, and I felt nauseous with the smell of it. But it went almost immediately.
It was at this point that things started to get very weird very quickly. A call came in on the radio that a substance that appeared to be blood had been found on the shower curtain in room 18.
The shower curtain there has got red slashes on, which it didn't have before.
Incident as in, can we get in here to look?
Yeah, you see the splatters.
One of the things reported in here was blood on the shower curtain.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's been at least half a dozen people in here who haven't seen that, including me the time before last. I was in here at 10:15. It's not the extractor fan because the extractor fan is extracting rather than bringing
This
it in.
fan.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm just looking at the pattern actually.
Yeah.
It's
It's come from.
latitude. It's almost as if it's been like that.
It's got a downward angle as
Yeah,
well.
and so
and got
have the others, and across as well.
Yeah.
So it's something.
And I'd say I tried a bit of water on the top spot up there. It's water soluble.
Yeah. You see, if it's a blood splatter from allegedly somebody being stabbed or whatever, you don't get that kind of splatter.
No.
That's been very direct.
I'm gonna touch this for a second. I just want to see you guys to see that I'm doing that. It's dry.
Yeah.
But you can see it's been wet because the capillary action there,
It's
well, whatever that main spot there has travelled through the fibres.
It's hardened and it won't break up again.
Initial thought was, it's too profound to have just happened at that time. But then, nevertheless, we have to actually look at that and disprove the fact that it is blood. At this stage, it's far too early to actually say it is, to conclude it is. Our pre-conclusion is that it's some type of liquid which is dried on the top of the shower curtain. But at this stage, our pre-conclusive stage, we're saying that it could be something unusual, and if it does turn out to be blood, then we really haven't got an explanation for it at this time.
Finding what appeared to be blood on the shower curtain in room 18 had everyone in the investigative team pretty excited, but the UPIA handled it like professionals. They sealed off the area and treated it like a crime scene where they took photos and samples. However, when Graham was informed of what we'd found, he was pretty shocked and more than a little shaken.
The guys upstairs were shouting up and down the stairs going, "There's blood on the shower curtain, blood on the shower curtain," and I thought they were pulling me chains, so I went up to have a look for myself. And I walked into the room and I felt it was sick to my stomach and saw all splattered across the top of the shower curtain, blood, or what looks like blood. I had to get out of that room. It was the weirdest feeling I've ever felt in that room, and I've never ever seen the blood there. And I'll tell you what, I don't want to see it again. When they ask to take the shower curtain, they can take the shower curtain and not bring it back.
Graham seemed genuinely disturbed by the blood that was found on the shower curtain. We sat down to chat, and at this point he told me that the cellar of the hotel was also haunted, this time by the ghost of a little girl from the late 19th century who had been seen by a number of people. He and I headed downstairs to see if we could make contact with the little girl's spirit, but just as we were about to begin, Paul wandered in. Okay, so we've got our toe.
Ow.
Nice. Paul?
That's it.
Do you have a teddy bear?
I do. I thought I'd come down and join you guys.
Okay, well, we're just about to get started here. We're trying to recreate a scenario that happened with Graham when he was down here before, with objects being thrown at him and...
That's why I brought the teddy bear, isn't it? I was up with the UPIA guys, but one of them told me that it was a kid that's down here, right?
There's stories of a kid being down here. When we did our call out here in the ghost hunt, we had a kid from down the bottom end was seen with a gaslight and a teddy bear, a young girl with like Victorian night dress sort of thing on her, and she was from just down there. Whilst we were also down here, something got thrown at us from the other end of the cellar as well.
Oh, okay.
And he personally saw this?
I was personally here, and it scared the living daylights out of me.
Yeah, so now we're trying to do it again.
Cheers, guys. Really appreciate that.
As I was just saying, we've got our temperature. What's it reading right now?
18 degrees Celsius.
18 degrees Celsius. We've got an ADR here set up that's recording. And can you walk us through what we do here?
Yeah, in our ideal world, we would want to be sitting down here holding hands.
Oh.
Teddy bear can join in too.
It's very sweet.
So where do we want
put him on the floor.
Where do we put the teddy bear?
You can
Put him
just
somewhere safe.
sit back there.
So maybe he'll move. Oop. I like that.
And then,
I'm afraid of intimacy, so that's a moment for me.
and then if we take it in turns.
Hey. You guys gotta hold hands.
This is
great.
good.
If we're taking turns to either ask for if there's any spirit people down here to bang something, move something, touch one of us, who knows, it might happen again for us if we're really lucky.
All right. So do we have to close our eyes?
Don't have to close your eyes, just do it. Just shout it out loud.
The last time I heard that. Anyway, never mind. Holly?
All right, so if there is a spirit down here, if there is some sort of unknown paranormal entity that would like to communicate with us, we would be willing to accept your communication at this point in time. So feel free to reach out and touch one of us. Feel free to talk to us, either directly or you can speak through the ADR, which we'll listen to later. Feel free to make a noise, knock on something, bang on something, throw something at Paul.
What she said, except for the throwing something at Paul part, let's throw something at Holly.
That was good. That was clever and original.
Do something for me. I'd love to do it again for us. Just to show that it happened first time for me.
How many people were down here with you the
There was
first
a
time?
group of about 10 of us last time, but we were all holding hands again,
Right.
like we are now. Touch one of us. Touch the cameraman. Bang a beer barrel. Do anything for us just to show us you're here.
Feel free to interact in whatever way you
Bring it on.
You might regret saying that.
I've been up to the bloody room. I can't imagine anything that would get weirder than that. I'm gonna go check on the progress of the other UPIA guys.
Okay.
You guys were the ones originally down here. Maybe you've seen it, you believe it, and you've always struck me as slightly more open-minded than I am.
I keep reminding you that.
Yeah. So I'll leave you two guys here, and maybe without my sort of dark, forbidding, skeptical presence, if there is something, give it another 10 minutes, see what happens.
Graham and I spent about another half hour in the cellar, but nothing seemed to happen, so we headed upstairs to rejoin Paul and the UPIA, who'd begun packing up. It wasn't until later that we discovered my audio recorder had picked up an eerie, childlike voice as I was leaving the basement. And we're back upstairs now.
There's no question that strange things happened at the White Hart Hotel that neither Holly nor I, nor our friends in the UPIA, could explain. It could have been a hoax, or it could have been a combination of coincidences and environmental stimuli. Or it's just possible that the White Hart Hotel really is haunted, in which case it would make for a very interesting place to spend a night, as long as you don't mind sharing a room with a demon.
And we're back upstairs now.
I'm the skeptical member of the team, but I've been talking with my co-producer Dale Stevens, and he and I have seen the exact same thing at different times in different places. So I would describe it almost in a science fiction sense as if a door opened. So, like this, kind of a door opened, a shape formed. It was totally black and surrounded by the night sky, which is slightly illuminated from a town off in this direction, I guess. And then as soon as it was there, it was gone.
That's a little stable there. It's interesting to have a look in there, and there's a history board on the side about the site as well.
Right. Well, hopefully. Nope, Steve's already here.
Oh yeah, it's Steve Mary.
Right side. Okay, left side will do. All right, well, let's get out, say hello to Steve, and have a look-see at Shocklach Church.
Hi, Steve.
Hi guys.
Hey, Steve.
Good to see you again.
Welcome to Shocklach.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good to see you again.
Hey.
Morning, Mr. Mary.
Hi Dave. All right.
So has anything paranormal happened to you while you've been waiting for us?
No, not at the moment, but if we have a look around, get our stuff out,
All right.
check the place
Fantastic.
out.
Well, give us the grand tour first, and then we'll pull this stuff out and set
Certainly,
everything
yeah.
up.
Tell you what's what.
Yeah.
No problem.
All right, guys,
Great.
let's go have a look.
You're talking circa the 13th century for the building of the church. The original part, as you can see, on the left-hand side is a lot older than there was an addition. It was a small church, you needed an addition.
So you've never been here before?
No, this is my first time.
This
to
is a-
Shocklach.
Ah.
But, I'm aware of its been so-called experiences that have been reported here over the years.
Right.
Time slips, apparitions, and that's good enough to draw my attention.
But you're the expert. Sorry, Dave.
No, I'm not an expert.
You're the one with a great deal of experience here.
Yeah, I've been coming here now for 10 years. Hours-wise, you're probably looking at 3-figured hours spent at the site. You're talking 50-plus visits. I come here alone because I like the location, I like the tranquility. So away from the paranormal, that is.
So you were saying that there are a couple of questions. You were telling me earlier there's a wow entrance, as you call it.
Yeah, I would suggest that the entrance what we're near now, if you entered this gate rather than the gate we entered previously, there's more of a wow factor when you first enter the site, come through the trees, come through the gate, which is the old English swing gate that you have to bend round a bit. You see the church for the first time and it's wow, it hits you straight away.
And let's go through a couple of things about the church, the experiences that you, the UPIA, have had here. Let's start with the little girl, the time slip.
Yeah, we come to the site. It was my colleague's first time, and he brought his daughter along with him as well. We wanted to discuss something away from the prying ears of a child, so we walked to the rear of the church. At that point, we stopped. He lit a cigarette. He took one drag of it. We asked her to run away. She ran from behind the church. As she went round one corner of the church, she automatically appeared around the corner closest to us straight away within an instant. And I'm probably talking for an 8-year-old child to run that distance, anything up to 30 seconds.
And in terms of audible disturbances, what have you been noticing here?
I think probably involving the UPIA in particular, we've done several long periods of time at the site, and right at the end of one of the last instances, we were actually stood in a location where 5 UPI investigators were huddled together. At the end of any investigation, we give people free time, go where you want, do what you want, basically. And the 5 investigators were stood at this location and heard the sound of horses neighing and the hooves along the roadside. Now, that might not sound like anything. We're surrounded by a field, but the fields were empty. We had a 1,000,000-watt candle-powered torch. We checked the fields. There was nothing of consequence in the field. But in a historical document, and we're talking dated back to the 1800s, there's actually a report of the Brayton funeral cortege, and obviously at the time it's not going to be hearses, it's going to be horse-drawn carriages, etc., coming down the site, and that's supposed to be an anniversary ghost. It's supposed to take place certain times of the year.
After David finished relating some of the stories of paranormal activity at Shocklach, we all split up and went in different directions to explore the site on our own. As I was moving along the side of the church, I felt compelled to move into a remote corner of the grounds. Turning back towards the church, I was overcome with a sense that we were not alone. For whatever reason, this corner interested me. I walked up through, and obviously there was nothing going on, but I was standing in that area, and I turned and I looked at the rest of the church, the building. And nothing happened, but it felt like something was going on. And in my mind, I literally thought the words, something's happening. It was an emotional response that something's happening.
With all honesty, you have just described to me word for word exactly the same as many other, well, not many, I'm not talking tens, I'm talking 3, 4, 5 people have said word for word there's something else going on here.
Something else happening.
There's something else. It's like there's a curtain and there's something else beyond the curtain.
And I can't see it, but
Harry
I can.
Potter-esque.
Yeah, but I can feel it. And I mean, I wasn't frightened or scared or anything. It was without a doubt. I can't see it, but I know.
It's one of the personal events that I've described.
The sun was starting to set, so Paul, Steve, and Dave went back to the parking lot to set up some of the gear. I stayed behind to take some pictures of the church. It was only a few minutes later that the unbelievable happened.
Hi, Holly.
Hey.
I believe you've had an experience. Something unusual?
Yeah. I'm laughing because I'm awkward and uncomfortable. FYI.
Okay, so what's happened then?
I was taking pictures of some stuff. I took a picture of this, for whatever reason, this window right over here, and then clear as anything, I heard the horse's hooves.
You heard horses' hooves?
I heard the horse's hooves, and I thought that was laughable because we've heard so much, the horse's hooves, the horse's hooves. Yeah. And it wasn't somewhere off in the distance. It wasn't like...
Were you quite close?
It sounded like it was just on the other side of this tree line here, and I thought for sure that there must have been a horse there. There must have been a hard surface because it sounded like a hard surface. The horse hooves, I heard it for about a second and a half to 2 seconds. The clop of the horse's hooves, and almost what I would have at the time I was thinking that sounds like a carriage, like a wheel on the surface as well. Yeah. Yeah. It was so clear and so distinct and so close that I had to come down here.
Right.
And I never took my eyes off the site from where I heard it, and it was right through here.
So you went over to check?
I went over to check because I honestly, I couldn't believe that there wouldn't be anything there.
Well, I think really what was running down the side here is pretty much just a mud path.
Oh, it's mud, and there's a cow field right there, and I thought, sure, it's the cows, but cows don't have cows don't have horseshoes.
I don't believe there's any horses in the vicinity at all.
No, and I think Dave's actually gone off to check to see if there is anything there. I mean, it wasn't somewhere off in the distance, like I said.
It's very interesting
right there.
that you've said that, because we've had the same things reported in the same location before.
This location?
This location.
Seriously, this location?
Seriously, this location. And we've also done the same thing. We've been out to investigate, see if there's any horses around. There is no horses here. You're going to have to travel a good 3 or 4 miles to find any horses. There actually is no concrete paving or cobblestones down the side here.
I can see.
If you actually go up to the fence and look over, you can clearly see it's just a mud track.
So, Steve, just to clarify, we're surrounded by fields.
Yes.
This location.
This particular location is exactly the same place where horses have been heard before. It's very interesting that you mentioned it.
It's very disconcerting to hear something that's not there.
Well, you know,
chips in the back.
Took me a while, but we're there.
Chips in the back.
Yeah.
All right, let's go through this as fast as we can.
Dave just going to go over what we're doing here.
So we've got our DVR cameras have been set up, but
No, you told me you were giving it to me.
Huh?
You said you were giving it to me.
We'll talk.
Okay.
So our DVR cameras are set up, but what are we looking at? What have you set?
All right, we've got 5 different locations. The first one, which is obviously the main screen, exactly the same position of an apparent apparition moving into shot and out of shot automatically. Secondly, we've got the door to the church. Just in case we need to monitor certain things, we're going to monitor the door. We're also monitoring the graveyard, the rear of the graveyard. And that's because it's been alleged the apparition of somebody tending to one of the graves has been witnessed. Somebody crouching over and bending over and tending to the graves in a cowl. Cool. Okay, 2 other locations we're looking at. One is where Holly had her first experience this evening. And the final area is because that's where most people have witnessed the sound of the horse and the cart. Strangely, a different place to where Holly witnessed it, but that place. And additionally, because one of the members of the UPIA actually witnessed a figure in that area as well.
And do we have a camera covering the area where you reported the time lapse?
Yes.
Thingy?
Yes, that's also covered in one of these bottom areas. Okay. It's actually covering in the area where the time slip took place, and the area where Holly had her experience this evening.
With our cameras set up, we decided to explore different areas of the church grounds. Holly headed back to where she had heard the horse's hooves earlier that evening, while Steve and Dave focused on the graveyard. Meanwhile, I found what I thought was a nice, quiet little spot at the rear of the church. Within minutes, however, I had one of my weirdest experiences yet as a paranormal investigator. So here's the crazy thing. I wasn't going to say anything because I'm the skeptical member of the team, but I've been talking with my co-producer Dale Stevens, and he and I have seen the exact same thing at different times in different places. So that's, you know, trained as a lawyer, as a historian, what I want is confirmation, and I've had it. And what Dale described and what I've seen, out of the corner of my eye, and then I looked over, it was over in this direction, and because the sky, there's trees and trees, and then there's sky in between, which allows you to, gives a backdrop of some illumination that you can see things. And it's weird. I would describe it almost in a science fiction sense as if a door opened. So like this, you know, kind of a door opened, a shape formed. It was totally black and surrounded by the night sky, which is slightly illuminated from a town off in this direction, I guess. And then as soon as it was there, it was gone, maybe a second or 2 seconds, I suppose, afterwards. What I saw would have been, the church is right over here. We've just sort of walked in more or less a straight line, and I was looking right in this direction. And here's the thing that I find a little freaky, because I don't know if we'll show it in the episode or not, but Aaron and Dale, my camera and audio guy here, were here with me earlier where we taped a little stand-up segment where I was talking about Holly and some other things. This is exactly where I was standing. What I saw, this shadow, this doorway, whatever it was that was opening, happened right up here. So it occurred, whatever it was for me, you know, sort of in exactly the same place as I was standing, 2 hours ago maybe, when we filmed that stand-up segment. And so it was church over here, and it's kind of like open like this, and that's the only way I can describe it. My co-director, producer Dale Stevens, described it a little differently, but we're talking about the exact same thing. But the way my mind works, it was like a trans-dimensional door opening or something, with just full of blackness, as if the sky blacked out in that section. Weird. I gotta tell you, weird. Of all the episodes I've done, weirdest, that and getting the thing in the St. Andrews jail, 2 weirdest things I've seen. And I would have pocketed that one, because that one was it was just one of those weird things that if Dale hadn't told me that he'd seen the same thing in a different place, different time, I might not have said anything.
Paul and Dale's sighting of the black void in the night sky was the beginning of a series of unusual events. In a period of 20 minutes, our sound technician, Dale Lucky, burned through 2 sets of batteries that should have lasted over 2 hours.
How long are these ones running?
They've only been going probably max 20 minutes today.
What do you usually get out of them?
That first shoot we were on down in Liscombe,
Yeah.
I think I didn't change batteries once.
And that would have been a couple of hours?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know what's going on, but anyway.
I had to change 4 times whilst I've been here. Now it's the same pack, come out of the same packs that I use when I'm at home, and they're usually pretty much good for a week or so, usually about a week. But just the location here tonight, I've changed them 4 times. So. But it is quite common for people to report battery loss on equipment when the new batteries have been placed in them, in areas where alleged paranormal phenomena takes place. So.
After the troubles with the batteries, Steve reported seeing some unusual lights behind the church.
It was this location here, and so I came straight over, because whilst I was over there looking, I saw what I thought was just a temporarily light just on the edges of these sort of tombs, and I came rushing over, trying to account for everybody where everybody was. The only person that wasn't with us was Dale, and he was at the far end,
down in the cemetery area.
Down in the cemetery, near the lower cemetery. Just scouting around that area. I don't know if it was basically just that he's wandered the torch and it's just caught my eye as it swept this area. I'm not too sure. But I talked to Dale, and he said that he didn't come over to this area with his torch. So.
Well, here's the great thing about sort of the scientific method, we might be able to recreate
That's right. Yeah.
a torch from that far down.
If we can get Dale to go right down to where he was earlier,
Yeah.
and with his lift, it's only a very small torch.
Yeah.
And with his torch, just to flash over in this area,
See if it
and
catches
if we
anything.
can just go further, just around the corner a bit, and see if we can see that torch, then
Okay.
we'll have to find out.
All right. We'll head down here, and Dale's going to swing his torch, as they say here in Britain, or as we would say, his flashlight, back here as if he was walking where he was, and we'll see if that creates any light effect over here.
Yeah, that'll be wonderful. Yeah.
And if it doesn't, then we have some anomaly,
could have
perhaps.
an anomaly.
Yeah. All right. Let's go hang out down here. Yep. He's always pointing in that direction,
It wouldn't have looked like that.
and that's like lights the whole.
Yeah, because as a flashlight works, the beam goes out.
Yeah.
And it gets further and further apart the distance you're away.
Yeah.
And when Dale was down there and he flashed his light up here, it was too widespread. It was very focused, the light where I saw.
Yeah.
So I think we could have something a little bit strange there.
The only thing Dale suggested is that he was shining it down there where there are tombstones. There's a black tombstone down there. He thought maybe it had bounced off that, but we did that too, and there was nothing that went up there.
After Paul and Steve conducted their experiment, Paul came over and updated me on what had been happening. And then he told me something else, that he'd actually been hearing things throughout the entire investigation.
Horse hooves. What did you hear?
Horse hooves, which I heard earlier.
You did?
Yeah,
When?
earlier when it was still light out.
Why didn't you say anything?
Same reason I didn't say anything about the thing until the thing. I always wait for corrupt. I would have said something at the end of the night.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I went on this long walk to see if it was the cows over there or anything that could have made the kind of thing.
Are you serious?
When Paul told me that he had actually heard the sound of the horse's hooves, I was irritated with him for keeping that information to himself. But I was also a little relieved that someone else was hearing the same things I was. And then we heard the sound of the horses again.
It was the clip clop, clip clop, clip clop, clip clop, clip clop.
How'd it go?
Clip clop, clip clop, clip clop, clip clop. Yeah. No, she was like, and I was like, yeah, no, I heard it at the same time. And then it disappeared. Didn't want to yell. She said, "Lo, yell and let everybody know." I said, "No, because there's cows over there, and I wanted to go over and make sure it wasn't a cow rubbing against the metal thing, which I had observed earlier." And then we just heard that, and that was a different sound. Yes?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just really cold. That's why I'm shaking. No.
But we heard them both within like 3 minutes of each other, and they're different sounds, right? We heard a clip clop, and then the metal sound, which we just heard, is different.
Yeah, no.
Unless it is cold, yeah. Clip clop, clip clop. But then it's gone. Oh no, I'm with you. I heard it.
At this point, Paul and I were running on nervous energy as we tried to figure out if there was a rational explanation for what we were hearing.
I don't know, it sounded like horse hooves to me. And I specifically, because I briefly heard, like for a second earlier this evening, I went on this long walk, the same second or two, the clip clop. Again, sorry, I pocketed it. Yes, I was going to report it later. This is the way I work. But I went on this long walkabout like Steve did to go over to suss the area out. I saw the cows. I even called one over. It's like, you're a little cow.
You called it
Yeah,
over.
because if you knock the metal, ding, 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 some of the cows will run away in fear, but the curious ones,
Like Holly.
yeah, they'll move. Did you just call Holly a curious cow?
No, I just said she's curious.
Yeah,
Right.
that works too. This has descended into comedy, which is great.
I do comedy when I'm nervous.
Yeah. I'm not nervous. It's just weird, especially with the black things that Dale and I saw. Look, I'm like Kermit Frog. Especially with the black things that Dale and I saw. I absolutely. I heard a clip. I heard it, and it actually lasted for a good, I think, 6 seconds, 5 or 6 seconds, maybe, give or take. It was a prolonged.
It was longer than the first time that I heard it.
Me too. Same here. Yeah. All I know is there's sounds. There's I think there's some sort of animal crawling about. There's, as Dave said, the metal thing over there that's in the field. There's whatever that is, which is not what we heard. Those are just natural sounds, and what I heard, I can't speak for Holly, in all seriousness, was an unnatural sound. It sounded unnatural to me.
Hold on, just listening. Okay, yeah, I can hear a cow chewing.
Yeah, those, I've already ruled all those things out from it, like boom, cows chewing, walking, all that stuff. Nope, sounded like clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop. That's my horse. Anyway, I'm just over there, dark void in sky over here, clip-clopping horse. I'm gonna go over here and see what I can hear.
Fantastic. I'll scream if I hear the clip-clopping of the horse again.
Excellent.
Well, I won't really scream, but it will notify people in a professional fashion. Moving on.
What happened to us that night at Shocklach Church? I still don't know. We don't have any photos of relevance, and our audio and cameras didn't pick up anything anomalous. But we all saw and heard things that we cannot explain. It's almost as if all night something was playing games with us.
Shocklach is the type of investigation that you never want to see end. And I can understand why my friend Dave Sadler has been drawn there over and over again, because the location is genuinely haunting and truly unforgettable. It's like black things in the sky and light anomalies over here and horse hooves. Ooh, this is and Dale asked me, it's like, are you scared or anything? I said, no, I'm not scared. I'm jacked up. This is exciting. This is fascinating. This is cool in a weird way, because this is the kind of thing, if you're doing UFO research or any paranormal research or anything, it's like being a lawyer. You can read it all in the books, but until you get in a courtroom, until you get there in front of a judge with a witness and everything, you don't actually know how it works. And the same thing's true with paranormal investigation. You could do 50 of these and have nothing happen. And then you can come to a place like this and you can have multiple sort of things happening all in one night, and you realize, you know what, the 50 times where nothing happened, it's worth it to get the one time where you go to a place and whatever's happening, it's interesting, it's anomalous. Whether it's paranormal, I don't know, but it's certainly anomalous. And then you can do things like with the light thing that Steve saw, and try a little experiment and rule things out. That's the way it should be done, and that is exciting. So this has obviously become a very interesting place to me because of our friend here. And the rumor is, the myth, whatever, that if I touch this painting, someone's supposed to die? Is it touch, or?
If you move the painting, somebody is apparently supposed to go to pastures anew.
Right. Well. Here we are in Congleton in Cheshire, and we're crossing with traffic.
Careful.
Thank you. Nothing coming that way. Go. These people are crazy here. It's kind of crazy country with people running. Ugh. That's scary. That's scarier than the haunted houses. Speaking of which, we're at the Lion and Swan Hotel. Bars, restaurant, function room.
Excited?
Yeah, the function room sounds like fun. So this place looks haunted. Should knock.
Good job.
The Lion and Swan Hotel in Congleton, England is a unique location with centuries of history and more than a few ghost stories hidden within its walls. In fact, the room that I was staying in even had a bed once slept in by Henry VIII.
After Paul and I checked in, he went downstairs to meet with our friends from the Unidentified Phenomena Investigation Association, while I got a tour of the property from the head chef, Simon Marr. He was very familiar with all of the paranormal stories associated with the hotel.
This is where I stay, my room's up there, and this is the back of the hotel's just through them doors there, so, and the function room's at the side, obviously.
And this is the area you have to come through every night when you're locking up?
Yeah, I walk up the corridor. There's no other rooms around except mine that's right at the back. All the other rooms are upstairs, so yeah, I better check for everybody.
You're all alone. And this is, as we're saying, the back of the hotel. What did this used to be?
There used to be a coach house above where my room is now, and then there used to be the double doors that let you into the car park or underneath where we're standing at the moment. So.
Okay, perfect. And now, every time you come down here, is it always creepy, or sometimes? Is it
Yeah,
worse
a lot
than
of the time when there's no lights on and there's just the emergency light, it's really dark, and you really want to get up the corridor as quick as possible. So yeah.
The next stop on our tour was the cellar of the hotel, where a supposedly cursed painting awaited, as well as an old bar where a ghostly figure had been seen.
And how do you generally feel when you're down here, Simon?
Sometimes the temperature drops, you feel a bit eerie, like there's somebody watching you, you hear stuff down here sometimes. So.
Temperature drops,
yeah.
like
yeah, you can
really
feel
quickly,
it. Yeah.
a couple seconds?
Yeah.
It's interesting. And this is Graham's workshop?
Yeah.
And this is where the picture...
Yeah, the picture's over there.
That's the
yeah, the picture.
And wait, is this Graham's?
Yeah, this is Graham. Graham owns it now, so it stops down here with Graham. This is the picture that...
You touch and die?
Yeah, apparently so. I haven't died yet, but you know.
Yeah, I can see how maybe that would have, that tradition would have arose. See, it's Carolyn. She's hot.
All right.
And this floor here, this is all stuff all original?
Yeah. Apparently there's a body buried underneath here, so...
There's a body underneath?
Yeah, yes. Apparently so. Just buried under there, so...
How did that happen?
Don't know. It's just another tale of the Lioness one, you know. Somebody apparently died and they buried him underneath here, so... Lifted the slabs and buried him underneath, so...
All right. So next we have to look at is going to be the...
Nightclub.
The nightclub, all right. And did someone die in there too?
Yeah, apparently when it was the way through, somebody died in the way through, so the ghost apparently haunts down there, so we'll see.
All right. What is this?
This should suit to the nightclub, so...
Is this how you get to the nightclub?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Weird. This is weird. What is this?
Yeah, all the day glow sort of paintings on the wall. It used to be a little nightclub.
Glows in the dark?
Yeah.
Used to?
Used to. I don't know if it does as much nowadays, but it used to at one time. That's the whole effect of it, so...
Oh, it's fairly small.
Yeah, and this is where the archway used to be. My bedroom's up there and the archway was made round. They built an extra wall in to make it soundproof, so it's not quite as wide as it used to be, so... Yeah, this used to take you up to the car park, so...
Oh, I see. And there was a manager down here that
manager, apparently, we've had psychic fairs before that have said there's a man that died actually in this area, so...
Back here where we're standing?
Yeah, back here, so...
And obviously it's not being used anymore?
Not being used anymore, it's just storage, chairs and stuff like that. It's the old dance floor, so...
How long ago was it in use?
I think it was late 70s, early 80s it was opened up way before I was here. It's never worked since I've been here, so...
And is that when the guy was killed?
Yeah, no, he died a long time before. Actually, when the passageway, it was shut down because of drugs and stuff, so...
Oh, okay. That's normal, right?
That's normal. That's Ian banging around my flat.
Simon and I finished our tour of the hotel, and then I went upstairs to join Paul and the UPIA team in the conference room, where we would plan and map out our investigation for the evening. It was at this point that Paul and I took the opportunity to find out a little bit more about how the UPIA worked.
And when you guys do an investigation, when people at home watch this and see you doing an investigation, you take a scientific approach to it. Perhaps you could just briefly, Paul, you have a science background.
Yeah.
Tell us about the approach that the UPIA takes to these investigations.
When you're doing an investigation at position A, position B, there's less anomalies. Everybody's working in the same manner of fact. And really that's the key. So there's no variables in the way people are working, that everybody's working to one specific method.
Basically, the investigators that are working throughout UPIA and other similar organisations in the country are qualified, have to be qualified through the British Investigators Training Course. It is a course which it trains individuals that are interested in this subject how to investigate, not just investigate through records, but on-site investigation as well, research methods, how to deal with traumatised incidents. A lot of people that are involved throughout the UPIA are qualified in their own fields as well, such as psychology, parapsychology, chemistry, and lots of different things that might come in handy.
As always, I was impressed with the meticulous investigative approach taken by the UPIA. However, as we got down to the business of deciding who was going to do what, I decided to employ a less scientific method.
Paper, rock, scissors. Which one of us moves the picture?
Yeah, Paul's moving the picture. That's the first one I've ever won.
So I have a question. You said that if you touch the picture, someone dies.
Yes.
So, apparently. So then rock, paper, scissors doesn't necessarily mean that Paul moving the picture means that he's going to die. Could be you that dies.
It could be.
Technically.
But hey.
Or me.
Hey.
Or Steve.
Then I'll come back as a ghost and to my colleagues and try and...
Oh, that would be good.
And be able to...
If you could, yeah.
I'd just be interested if anybody dies.
Yeah.
So
I'm kind of hoping not.
It's going to be a risky gamble.
Of course, to rule it out, we'd have to move it again and see if it happens in seconds.
Or, Holly, we could actually move the photograph and put it in bed with you.
I could see why Paul and Dave get along so well. They both have an anything-goes sense of humor. That's fine. It's a good idea when you're in a haunted location to keep everyone's spirits light.
So you and I will go down to the cellar tonight.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dig it.
Dig it. And Holly and...
Ivy.
Ebony and Ivory. Holly and Paul can go up to my room.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And
I'll have a baby shower.
Steve can have a beer. This has obviously become a very interesting place to me because of our friend here. And the rumor is, the myth, whatever, that if I touch this painting, someone's supposed to die? Is it touch or?
If you move the painting, somebody is apparently supposed to go to pastures anew.
Right. Well.
Don't.
So, for the viewers at home, here we have our painting, and I am not only touching it, I have moved it. Dave is still here. I'm still here. Camera crew is still here. But the night is...
Where's Holly?
Sorry, I just heard that creaking noise. It's like the mummies coming to get us. So the night is still young, but this is the painting that they're talking about that is supposedly haunted in some way, or cursed, I suppose would be the best way to put it. Hello, Dave.
Hello, lady.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, we'll just leave that down there. And over here you've got all your ghost investigating equipment. So let's go take a look and then do some investigating.
This was Dave's first investigation of the line in Swan, and he wanted to take full advantage of the opportunity, which meant using all of the equipment that the UPIA had access to. Dave calibrated the various instruments we had on hand, including an EMF detector and a magnetometer, and then we came up with our game plan.
So you have 3 spots down here you want to go investigate. How many?
2 spots.
2 spots.
Yeah, I was thinking 3 originally, but I'm going to go with 2.
Okay. Which 2 are they?
That'll be this area where we are now.
Right.
The main part of the cellar and the old nightclub.
Now, could we make this go faster if we split up and I did one and you did the other, or how do you want to do it?
I'd rather us work together because obviously you don't know what we're looking for.
Shoot, I was afraid you'd say that. I'm inherently lazy, so I was hoping I could just sit here.
No, that's not going to happen.
Okay, well, let's do this one first, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do we do? I'm going to fit you out with the radiation badge, seeing you've got lots of pockets and such like. So that can go there.
Every science fiction movie I've ever dreamed of being in.
I'll let you use that EMF sensor. I'll let you use the magnetometer. And I have your choice of either you want the gun, don't you?
My hands are kind of full.
You've got pockets.
Oh, all right. So I can just put this.
Yeah, not a problem. Use the pockets and then take it out when and if you need be. It's obviously we usually work in different circumstances, but we're in the cellar and such like, we'll do it in this manner. And obviously the gauss meter normally has to be exercised by pressing the button, and a lot of the time keep your finger on the button. Okay, Paul, are you ready to rumble?
I am indeed. I've got my radiation meter, my phaser. It's temperature gauge. I feel like I'm in Star Trek. And I've gone you one better. I've brought a third member of our group.
Caroline.
So this will be Caroline, and she's going to hang out with us here.
Superb.
And hopefully we both make it through the next short period of time. While Dave and I got acquainted with Caroline in the cellar, Holly, Steve, and Paul were beginning their investigation in the Tudor room.
Well, basically what we'll do is we'll do a sweep around the bed with EMF detector to begin with. I mean, it's quite, as you can see how small this bed is, but there's been reports about the whole room, so what we're expecting is at least something. I mean, what we're getting here normally is a base reading of around about 0.4, which is relatively low. I mean, we expect anything up to 2.
It's quite a space back here.
There is quite a space back there, isn't there?
Nothing there.
No, we're getting no reading at all on there. And we'll check around the base of the bed. And we're getting 0.3, 0.2, slightly fluctuating between 2 and 3. Nothing on the negative ions.
Nope. Just the power.
We're getting a 0.3, 0.4. No, we've got nothing unusual on the EMF there. We're going to switch to the microwave, see if there's anything that's been picked up on the microwave. We've got nothing around on the bed. Reading 0. Yeah, it's quite flat at the minute. There isn't any unusual readings at this time.
We took readings with the EMF meter and the negative ion detector, and they were all normal. If there was going to be any paranormal activity in the Tudor room that evening, we would be able to compare it with these baseline readings. In the meantime, I still had a sense of unease.
I have to admit the bed kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Why is that?
I don't know why. I first came in here and I think it's just
Do
the
you
way...
think it's just because you're coming in, it's just so capturing,
kind of menacing.
you know?
Well,
it's a lot of carvings on it.
Gorgeous bed. It's an absolutely gorgeous bed, but there's something about the way that it curves in on itself here. This space here, like it's kind of like reaching in on you.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And it does it on the sides too, like it's grabbing. That's my initial impression.
It's quite looming, isn't it? I mean, it's obviously the main focal point to this room is the bed.
Absolutely.
You know, when you come walking through that door, you just think nothing more than bed.
This
you
bed.
know, this is it. This is what this room represents. Nothing more, nothing less.
And I have to tell you, it's exactly what I saw when I first came through that door, because
it's fantastic. It's a great bed. It's as you can see, it's very old. And we're bound to, obviously, I mean, if we're going to have anything taking place in this room, people are going to think, well, it's circulated around this bed area. The only real area of sort of where we can move about is just at the base of this bed and up at the sides of it.
Off to the bathroom, but
I mean, I think this is the so-called area where people have claimed to have witnessed this apparition of a man and a dog, of all things, as well. So.
As Holly, Steve, and Paul were conducting their investigation in the Tudor room, Dave and I were getting similar results in the cellar.
Can you give me a ambient temperature, please? Away from you, obviously. Just a general area sweep, yeah. Just we'll call that 2002. Can you do it in a couple more locations and we'll take it and then we'll make an average of that.
All right, so that's 20.2. Be the 4 corners of the room.
Okay.
And 21.5. 21.5. 19.7. .
So we've got an average temperature of around 20.73. So that's natural.
The temperature readings were consistent with measurements we had obtained earlier in the evening, so we moved on with the magnetometer.
That's 0. It's nothing. Okay, that's basically the first part of the sweep, and then, as I said, we can go to another location, or you can sit and feel the ambience of this location, see if there's anything different that you want to report in this area in a period of time, and obviously we'll come back and do some more tests. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go to the other area.
Okay.
We'll leave Caroline here.
Okay.
All right.
Caroline, look after the equipment, please.
What I like about this is it's made in Great Britain.
Oh yeah.
Made here.
And you don't put the great in Great Britain. Me.
Nice. I'm responsible for the inn.
In the EMF sensor, we've again got 0.00. Normal magnetics, we've got normal. And radiation. Normal.
Let me haul out my friendly little Starship Enterprise here.
Will be 0.
It will indeed.
All right, so we've conducted some experiments, taken a look around the room a couple times with the detectors, and haven't had a whole lot of activity. What do you guys think about this?
It's pretty typical, really. We've got a lot of baseline readings. Nothing seems to have spiked.
Shazam, we're back.
We are.
Caroline's still here.
And
she hasn't run away with anyone.
Looks like she's looked after the place. I personally can't feel anything of consequence differently temperature-wise. So.
5 points of the temperature compass coming up, sir.
Firstly, can I just monitor, see if everything's okay upstairs with Paul and Holly?
Sure.
Okay. Dave to Paul, Dave to Paul.
Dave, go ahead.
Everything okay upstairs with you and Holly?
Yeah, we've just conducted a sweep of room 20 and we're just reviewing the data right now.
Thanks for that.
Cheers. Yeah, so at the moment there's shown no spikes, no significant spikes. Everything seems to be normal. Currently, what we've looked for again is EMFs, microwaves, and negative ions, and that no peaks have been shown here.
Just because we haven't had anything occur, you wouldn't just immediately go, meh, no, not haunted?
No, because on most occasions, you know, it's just a matter of being, I think it's down to being at the right time, right place, right moment, and having a piece of equipment with you. If you're lucky enough to have a camera, lucky enough to take a photograph of something strange, then maybe so. So we always presume that, you know, that there could be something unusual, that it's just not here when we want it to be here. So we just continue checking on a particular room for the duration of an evening.
So pretty much nothing going on down here tonight.
Environmentally, I would suggest nothing. Obviously, if paranormal activity was to take place, the alleged, as I like to say, the alleged paranormal activity is to take place, there's a strong possibility that some of the environmental conditions could change. And obviously, you'd have to stay in here a while longer on a full investigation and monitor the equipment constantly.
We're going to check in on Holly and Paul upstairs, but I'm going to stay down here with Caroline.
Of course, if you do witness anything of consequence, please.
You'll be the first I call.
Let me know.
Okay, so I'm going to set up over here on the desk with the painting and my stuff, and you're going to head up and check on Paul and Holly. Sounds good.
Have fun.
I hope my partner's still alive and that touching and moving Caroline didn't cause
nice
any.
to him, Caroline.
Yes. All right, we'll see you in a bit.
Okay.
Don't forget me.
I will.
So here I am. I'm down in the cellar, and I've got my EMF meter, which is currently reading 0.00, and sweet Caroline here is going to keep me company. And Holly and Paul are upstairs in my room, and Dave's gone up to see what's happening. Oh, and I've got the compass, so I'll set the compass out here, and we'll see if anything happens. The things I do for a date.
After a thorough investigation of the line in Swan, we had found no evidence to support the stories of the various ghosts that supposedly haunted the property, nor had we experienced anything anomalous. But that's sometimes how it goes with ghost investigation. The next day, however, brought news that shocked and saddened all of us.
When confronted with a story that portends some dire paranormal consequences if a certain action is taken, I have a habit of throwing caution to the wind, because I don't believe in ghosts or demons or curses. At the line in Swan, I did it once again, this time with the painting of Caroline in the basement. At the time, Dave Sadler and I joked around about people dying because I had moved the painting, and then we thought nothing more of it as we moved on with our investigation. However, the next day we got news that the father of one of the participants in our investigation that evening had passed away suddenly the next morning. This is something that I've struggled to come to terms with in relation to both our investigation of the line in Swan and this episode. The skeptic in me wants to dismiss it as a pure coincidence. Given all the circumstances, however, I can't help but wonder if maybe for once I actually went too far and crossed some sort of paranormal Rubicon with tragic consequences. At the line in Swan, supremely confident in my skepticism, I came and I saw. But it may have been the curse of Caroline's painting that ultimately conquered.
It's almost like there's, this might sound flaky. It's my favorite term to describe weird sensations. It's almost like there's like a film in front of me, and visually, like, I mean, obviously I'm standing in a Neolithic burial chamber, but it's just like there's something else beyond it, beyond what's in front of me, if that makes any sense.
As Holly and I wrap up our tour of the Cheshire region of the United Kingdom, we investigate two very different locations. The first was a 12,000-year-old Neolithic burial site known as the Bridestones, where there had been sightings of ghostly druids, missing time incidents, and numerous reports of a phenomenon known as earthlights.
Morning, guys. So, how old is this Mr. Sadler, did you say?
This is...
What is it,
approximately,
and how old is it?
This is a Neolithic burial cairn. A burial cairn, obviously, is of great importance to somebody who was buried here. It was an important person, and it's called the Bridestones, it's thought, because it was supposed to be a female.
So, are you as excited here as you were at Shocklach?
I certainly am, yes. I mean, I love Neolithic burial chambers. I've been around a number of them on investigations. This one is a little bit smaller than I expected, but I'm already intrigued.
So, what's the haunting story, Dave?
First and foremost, there's been a figure which the reportee, the witness, claimed looked like a druid. It was in white. We've also got dark, shapely figures. The UPIA actually themselves have had quite a high EMF spike within the burial cairn itself. Also, a gentleman was travelling on this road. The gentleman stopped to relieve himself, to have a little wee, and in that period of time, he got out of his car. He saw a ball of light emanating from the Bridestones area, electrical, statically charged ball of light, and thereby found himself in the woods adjacent to the south. A number of hours later, he had a complete loss of time. He was half naked. When he got back to his car, he found his clothes were neatly piled up in his car, and they had an electrical, statical charge to them also.
Well, okay, why don't we do this? Why don't you and Steve go snag your gear so we can get the ball rolling on a proper investigation, and Holly and I'll stay here and figure out where we'll set up our DVR cameras. Yeah, all right. Break, team.
Okay.
Let's go Neolithic, Holly.
I'm already there.
It's as close as I get to an action shot. So,
What do you say? You feeling anything? Got any vibes? Anything? What do you feel when you get here? When you first walked in? 12,000 years old, give or take.
Paul and the crew began setting up the infrared cameras, so I took the opportunity to have a closer look at the burial chamber. In the short time that we'd been there, I'd noticed a very strong sense of unease come over me. I don't know if I want to call it anxiety, because I've definitely experienced that before, but it's just this kind of like sensation just kind of hits me of it's kind of a worry, like there's something wrong kind of sensation. And it also, on occasion, transfers into sadness. Something was wrong, is what it felt like. It's almost like there's like a film in front of me, and visually, like, I mean, obviously I'm standing in a Neolithic burial chamber, but it's just like there's something else beyond it, beyond what's in front of me, if that makes any sense.
While Holly was in the burial chamber, Dave, Steve, and I took the opportunity to set up our generator and infrared cameras before the sun went down. Got one set up over here. These are what the little fellows look like. Infrared cameras that'll be able to see everything that happens here. And we've got another one set up down over there on that wall. And we've got 3 set up in and around the Bridestones monument itself. So hopefully something happens, because we're equipped to film it tonight. Once the cameras were set up, Dave and Holly began their investigation in the burial chamber, while Steve and I headed out into the surrounding field in the hopes of witnessing some form of paranormal activity. There's something about this field, is there?
Yeah, right running parallel next to the Bridestones, we have a field where there's a geological fault which passes right through the centre, which is only 100 yards away, literally, from the Bridestones. As it reaches down to the bottom of the field, we have another fault, which is copper. And there was obviously a lot of mining maybe at some stage around here. And these geological faults are renowned basically for Earth-like phenomena, those sort of experiences. Balls of light.
Natural phenomena.
It's a natural phenomenon, yeah. Many people would report over a period of time that they see balls of light, and they're gaseous. They tend to be plasma, burning a range of colours, usually white, yellow, orange, those sort of colours, and sometimes they'll seem to be moving. Many years ago, people used to refer to them as UFOs. You thought they were unidentified flying objects in the sky. Very similar to swamp gas, but that's a gaseous ignition.
So could this account for, if you go back far enough in myth and legend, especially in the United Kingdom, things like Will-o'-the-Wisp? And
Most definitely, yeah. We would have had the reports of those type of experiences, Will-o'-the-Wisp you could call it, or even fairies, gentry. I mean, a lot of people will misinterpret the phenomena. I think over the last sort of 10 years, we've really got to grasp on this phenomena now. And we do know that it does actually happen. It's been recorded, it's been filmed, photographed, and even done in an experimental chamber on a smaller degree.
The theory that the paranormal experiences reported at the Bridestones could be explained by the surrounding geography made sense to me, but I was still curious as to whether it could explain the story of the man with the missing time.
It could simply be a natural phenomenon. It's adversely affected somebody who was passing by at the time. A huge amount of EMF, or should we say GMF, geological magnetic phenomena.
Right.
It's the same thing, but it's generated from the ground. And if you're caught in that, it could adversely affect your mind. And you could also obviously claim to have had missing time as well. So you can understand how people could misinterpret that phenomenon.
So you could bring in the idea that potentially earth lights, or the phenomenon that causes earth lights, would create something that might look like a fairy or a sprite or whatever, any of these mythological creatures we might have. At the same time as that phenomenon or something related to it might be causing a missing time thing. And today we call those UFOs. 500-600 years ago, they might have said, look, these are people who are taken away by the fairies and sprites for a period of time and then return from the fairy kingdom.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, as you go through the eras, you'll find that there's very similar accounts, but they're interpreted completely different. At one time it would have been fairies, at another time it would have been spirits of their ancestors, another time it would have been paranormal. Some people refer to it as UFO. It's so many different things.
In my opinion, any ghost investigation where you can come up with some answers is worthwhile, even if those answers aren't paranormal in nature. The great thing about the UPIA is that they take the exact same approach.
A rational explanation is just as advantageous to us as it was something unusual.
I wonder if the ancients stood in a field of poo. That's cow dung.
Hopefully not.
Cow dung or whatever it is that we have here. Okay, well, maybe we should go back and see what Holly and Dave.
Yes, yeah, I'd love to find out.
Like I was saying earlier, the nice thing is about the smallness of the space, that those DVR cameras, we've got the thing covered from every angle. So if there is anything tonight,
we should hopefully
we should have it. All right, let's be careful where we walk.
Hey guys.
Hi,
What's
Holly.
up?
I got a question for you.
Oh, right.
Steve, because no offense, Paul, but I don't know if you know the answer.
Not my area,
But,
just, all right, I'll tell you what, you guys talk, I'm gonna go in and spend a little time with the Bridestones on my own.
All right, don't get in the way.
I won't.
I was just watching the screen for a little while.
Right.
After I was done with Dave there, and in this field over here, it was at about 8:01 according to the clock. I saw what looked like a series of 4 or 5 lights in a row.
Oh, yeah.
And they appeared, I was looking at something else, but I looked over, I saw them right about here in the screen. They were all in a line, not vertical necessarily, but they moved in sync. So not like an orb moved by itself, they moved together.
Right.
And they kind of went, and it could have just been a light on the thing, but they moved kind of this way off into the distance and behind the rock there.
Oh, that's interesting you mentioning that, because I've just been talking to Paul about this location, and now it's often referred to as a place where Earth-like phenomena takes place. Now, Earth-like phenomena can be little balls of light which are generated. They come from the ground, standing stones, areas where there are geological faults, just like here, and they seem to rise to the surface and can be seen to be like little bright balls of light.
Yeah, that's what they look like.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting you mentioning that, because this vicinity, the people have reported those exact same things before.
But they're explainable.
Oh yes, yeah, they're explainable.
Do they normally move in groups?
And sometimes they've been seen to be moving in groups, 3 or 4 of them.
Really?
In fact, yes, yeah.
Well, that's really interesting because that's definitely recorded.
That's fantastic, because at some time we could go back and look at that.
Oh, absolutely, and I noted the time.
Excellent.
So we can go back and take a look at it. But I thought maybe someone had a light shining, but then again, that would have caused the infrared to cancel itself out.
Let's hope that we get some more.
Absolutely, thanks for the explanation.
Brilliant,
I was
brilliant.
just completely...
Good viewing.
Thanks.
There was no question that I'd seen some strange lights over the field, but our cameras didn't pick it up, which I thought was odd. Steve's explanation was rational, but it didn't explain my growing feeling of apprehension, nor the severity of the headache I was now experiencing.
In contrast to Holly's feelings of unease, I felt great at the Bridestones. We didn't find anything paranormal there, but I was really inspired by the location.
There is a poetry to a place like this that if you haven't had a chance to experience it, a place that makes Stonehenge look like a kindergarten student in terms of age, that when you come to a place like this, there is a sense of poetry and also, I think, a sense of purpose. And it makes you think about your own purpose. And if nothing else, paranormal or not, that's a good thing. And that's something we should all keep in the forefront of our minds. And a place like this does that to you. No question. And you don't have to be new agey or anything. You just have to be a human being capable of taking a sense of perspective and thinking about a world that is bigger than your own, and thinking about time as a continuum, your place in it, but also thinking of it as not just a linear construct, but perhaps something that circles in around itself, who knows. But it really does start making you think about the way time is structured and the way we're structured and our place in that sense of time, our place here and our purpose here. And I think those are probably the same questions in their own way that the people who built this were asking 12,000 years ago. And I hope, because I'm a humanist at my core, that those are the questions that people will be asking 12,000 years from now, and that we're still here to do it, or given 12,000 years, maybe we're out there somewhere doing it. But wherever we are, we'll still be amazed at places like this, people that came before, and what someday may come after us.
The day after our trip to the Bridestones, Paul and I headed into the city of Manchester, to the home of Manchester Radio Online. Dave Sadler informed us that the building containing the radio station was allegedly haunted, and he arranged for Paul and I to not only investigate the location, but also to make a special appearance on the radio station's Saturday night paranormal broadcast hosted by Paul Ripley and Tony Filer.
We do talk to witnesses beforehand. Each episode's done in a different way. So we have research packets. We know the general story, obviously. You don't just want to show up at a place like this and go, I hear you've got ghosts. What kind of ghosts? We have demons. Bye. Occasionally I do run away because I'm cowardly. But, I mean, if it is a demon from hell coming at me, I'm not going to stick around.
Has that actually happened?
No, because I leave, so I don't know. I don't know. The demon gets there and goes, they told me he'd be here, but he's gone.
Being on live radio is a fairly new experience for me, but not for Paul. He was completely in his element discussing the paranormal with Paul Ripley and Tony Filer.
There's no evidence whatsoever, I don't believe, that anything has ever existed and come back and haunted anyone. There's no evidence, otherwise you wouldn't be doing your job now.
There are things I think that we can't explain, so that makes them paranormal by their very definition. That doesn't mean they can't be explained. It just means we don't have the evidence in some cases, or we might not have the scientific knowledge. And ghosts are an interesting question, that sort of these ghosts or poltergeists or anything like that. You can play with all the theories you want. Most people would assume that they're the spirits of the dead. Or it could all have a prosaic explanation, that if we have more research and look into it in a scientific way, we might be able to explain it and understand it better.
After about an hour on the radio, Paul and I started the investigation. Dave and Paul went upstairs to a room that was supposedly once a bordello, while Steve and I concentrated our efforts in the basement, where back in the early 20th century, a man was allegedly brutally beaten.
I've done a full sweep around the full perimeter of both of these rooms in the cellar. I haven't picked up anything on the negative ions as yet.
Okay.
I actually expected, because I thought some of the carpeting on the walls and the ceiling and the floor that we've got here, because it's just everywhere, would have had some traces of nylon in it, because nylon is it's a culprit for causing negative ions.
Really?
Yeah, we picked up negative ions in nylon quite a few times, such as shower curtains, certain carpets. And usually give a trace, but we're not getting anything in here on the negative ion meter.
Okay.
So I'm going to do a sweep with the microwave radiation meter.
Sure. I'm going to take a look at EMF.
And see if we can get anything.
This is the corner over here that we've been told potentially is where the man was brutally beaten.
Yeah.
And apparently there is historical evidence to back that up.
Yeah, I mean, what we're pretty much getting on the camera, and we possibly are picking up also on the infrared, is a lot of dust orbs which seem to be floating around.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I think what we're doing is, because it's pretty much carpet everywhere, it's going to absorb dust into it from every direction. So whilst we're moving around, we're kicking up dust.
Yeah.
And so it is to be expected that we're going to get some dust orbs.
Likely. We'll likely see that on our DVR, which we also have set up monitoring this area over here. Getting some readings off the walls over there, but there's electrical wiring, so...
Whereabouts? Are they there concurrently all the time? Oh, yeah. What sort of readings are we getting on them? We're getting a point.
Hold on. 1.8 it jumped. There it goes.
Yes, 3.5, 4.5. Can we follow it a little? Does it actually reach a ridiculous amount, or?
You mean go off the charts kind of thing?
Well, if we're looking for, if we get up to 10, yeah, I think the highest we've had is about 0.7. I mean, 0.7 over a duration of time. I mean, you know, this is what we find in a lot of buildings, that the wiring causes long-term EMF to be produced. Getting nothing on the microwave radiation detector, so we're looking like we've not got no leakage.
One, two. Oh, can I get some light over here? Oh. Oh, so there's like a whole other space back there.
Oh.
It's covered off with the carpeting. We're probably not really supposed to go back there, she says as she looks.
Interesting.
Oh, weird. Let me just flip this over the other way. Oh, and now I've gone and ripped part of it off. Well, it doesn't go very far.
No.
But you can certainly see the foundations.
Yeah, do you want to take a couple of snaps whilst you're in there?
Sure.
Holly?
Sure.
Just,
Let me do it.
just point and press.
Whoa. Low light real. Let me just take this side. Creepy corners. Hey, you want to do any sweeps in here? It's a very small space, and I'm afraid I'm going to pull out these nails. Wiring, that's really high.
Is it?
20, 48, 50.
Sorry?
40, 50.
Oh, whoa. That's not good. That's not healthy at all. That spike you got. 45.
Not healthy, like I should take my hand away, not healthy?
No, basically, if you've got 45, you'd only have to spend about, what, 20 minutes in that field at 45.
In that field?
In that field, about 20 minutes.
And then what?
That'd be enough to make you a little bit disorientated, feel a little bit nauseous.
But you'd actually have to be standing. You'd have to stand in that space. We're up to 69. It's jumping.
69.
It's jumping between 30 and 50.
Yeah, they definitely need the wiring sorting out, really.
As with the Bridestones, Steve and I had discovered a non-paranormal explanation for alleged paranormal activity. The electrical wiring in the basement of the radio station had created an area of abnormally high electromagnetic field activity, which could explain the reports of ghosts seen and heard in the room.
Very high.
So ghost investigation, perhaps not conclusive tonight in any way, shape, or form, but health and safety disaster averted.
Oh yeah, and this is part of the thing we do, Paul. I mean, a lot of the things, we've picked this up in the past. I've been involved in an investigation in the past where an entire farm, British farm, had to be rewired, and we had all sorts of manweb and all sorts there, the British energy authorities. And because of the severity of the EMFs, which was proven to be affecting one of the members of the family, the whole farm had to be rewired. And after it was rewired and everything's fixed, the health increased better.
Good work, guys.
Excellent.
Thank you.
We've got lots of DVR to go over, so...
Yeah, we've got quite a lot of photographs, and obviously we put some details down on our sheet when I'm doing the perimeter tests, so...
And we've also got a lot of our own footage, which obviously we're making available to the crew.
Check that as well, yeah.
Negative ions, they're still negative. They're still very upset
EMF
about something.
up here is still EMF up here. Radiation is still radiation free.
We hadn't found any ghosts at either the Bridestones or the Manchester radio station, but we did discover some answers, and that's really what ghost investigation is all about.
Holly and I had an amazing time working with Dave and Steve and the rest of the UPIA during our week in the United Kingdom. Some of the sites we visited, like the radio station and the Bridestones, had non-paranormal explanations for the reports of ghostly activity, but there were others, like Shocklach Church and the White Hart Hotel, where we experienced some truly surreal events for which we still cannot find a rational explanation. Working with real professionals like the folks from the UPIA was a great learning experience for both Holly and I, and we can't wait to return to England sooner rather than later, for it's truly a magical land, rich in both history and hauntings.
Hello, Lottie. Here comes 100 years of bad luck.
Who is it? Paul, that better be you. Found it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a good job.
Let's meet the house and let's get game button going on here.
Step on my heels. Yeah, don't forget to watch your feet this time.
Located near Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, Churchill Mansion was built as a summer home by legendary seaman and shipbuilder Aaron Flint Churchill in the 1890s. For the past couple of decades, Churchill Mansion has been an historic inn, during which time it has gained a reputation as one of Nova Scotia's most haunted locations. This made it the perfect place for Holly and I to spend a couple of nights in November 2008. Upon our arrival, we were given a tour of the mansion by the owner, Bob Benson.
Welcome to Churchill Mansion.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm going to show you some of our proper rooms, our guest rooms, starting with room number 1, which you've probably heard in some of the history of Churchill Mansion.
That would be Lottie's room, yes?
That's Lottie's room, yes. That's Lottie's room. Lottie may be here this evening. We
Maybe
don't know.
here.
Some of our guests have quite experiences with Lottie.
Should we knock?
Well, I think she probably knows we're coming.
Oh, good.
But this is it. That's a queen bed and a double bed.
It's nice.
They tell us that Lottie's over here in the corner, but
over there.
I don't see her, but some do.
Do you see her, Paul?
No, I don't see her. But
Well-
people have seen her in their dreams,
Yes, that's
apparently, in
right.
here. Is that
A
true?
lot of dreams here, and a lot of stories. Like one lady had dreams of a baby crying, the sound of a baby all evening, and told me about it in the morning. But and several have bad feelings about the dressing room.
The dressing room?
Yes, which was the dressing room,
the
I should say, the bathroom. And Lottie may have protected herself, stabbed a servant. We're not sure just exactly what took place there.
She stabbed someone?
That's what we're told.
Enjoy.
But we don't
This room
tell.
is yours.
We don't
Thank
tell
you.
all our guests that.
Yeah,
so.
no, I can see
But
that.
you
yeah.
asked for it.
Yeah,
and
no,
you got
no.
Is there any chance I can get a non-haunted room or no? I guess there's
They're
another.
scarce.
There's
They're
another.
scarce.
There's another room that's supposed to be particularly haunted. Aaron
Yes,
Churchill's
that's
room,
right,
which is
yes.
the one I'm getting.
Mhm. We're going to show you that.
Lead us on to
Okay,
that one.
we'll go to that one.
This one's all yours, though.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you.
We'll go down and have a look at Aaron's room. It's another option that you might like.
This is my room. Yes. Not
Yes,
haunted.
that's right. Aaron's room.
It's not haunted, right?
Well, I don't know. The ladies seem to like Aaron's room very much.
Good luck with that, Paul.
And Aaron,
I'm staying in this room. How did the men do in here?
well, I don't know. Not as well as the ladies. So we're told.
That's unfortunate. So, so Aaron Churchill, this was originally his room.
This was originally his room, yes.
And what's the story? A bit of the story behind this room.
A lot of the ladies do seem to sleep very well. Some have dreams about Aaron, I guess, apparently.
Ooh, kind of dreams?
Well, I'm not sure, but a variety.
A variety.
But they all seem to be very happy.
And do people report having felt his presence in this room when they're here, or?
Oh, yes, some do. Some do. It depends on what's in your mind, perhaps.
What's in your mind, Paul?
What's in my mind are those velour pillows and everything. This is the honeymoon suite now.
This is the honeymoon
folks, right?
suite. That's right. There's a balcony through the
Ooh,
door
nice.
here.
And a jacuzzi tub, apparently.
Yes, that's right.
So I get the room with the people who have died, and you get the honeymoon suite.
You get the haunted bathroom, I get the jacuzzi tub. Proper thing. I finally made it to a honeymoon suite. Excellent. Although I've been to a honeymoon suite concert, but that's a different thing. So Bob, perhaps you could tell us a little bit about who Aaron Churchill was.
Aaron Churchill was born in Yarmouth and became very, very wealthy in cotton shipping and banking in Savannah, and came back and built this actual building as his summer cottage, in which he lived 6 weeks a year, some years, until 1920, at which time he died. And then the mansion was vacant for many years after that.
We were just in Lottie's room. Lottie was Aaron Churchill's niece?
And perhaps his daughter. She was known as his daughter, traveled with him as his daughter.
Yeah, well, I guess
okay.
That's it. We're just going to hang out here,
All right.
plan the rest of our evening.
Very good.
Our strategy, as it were.
All right.
But thanks for showing us Aaron's room and Lottie's room. These would be the two sort of most haunted rooms.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Right,
we consider, yes, most haunted. If you have any questions, come down and we'll talk about it.
After we finished our tour of the inn with Bob, Paul and I sat down to map out the game plan for our 2 nights of ghost investigating at the mansion.
We'll use our trusty tape recorders to try and find audio phenomena.
And set up DVRs.
And the DVRs.
Where do you want to set up DVRs?
My room, which was Aaron's room. Lottie's room, which is your room.
Maybe the hallway.
The hallway would be good, and I don't know. We'll find one other place to set it up. Maybe downstairs somewhere.
By the picture, perhaps.
By the picture. Sounds good to me.
All right. So first things first.
Yes. What?
Let's go to the honeymoon suite. Come on.
Oh.
We set up our DVR cameras in several different areas and then headed down to the living room to interview Karen McGill, who worked at the mansion and had done a lot of historical research on the location. As she was telling us about a number of strange noises that had been reported at the mansion, we heard a door slam from a nearby empty room.
Okay, I'm sorry, but what is that noise over there? Okay, that's like where I'm talking about this happening.
Is it not you playing with your feet on the cover?
I know, but I'm talking about, like, I could hear it come through that door.
Yeah, but the door was closed, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's open.
Karen was quite disturbed by what had happened, particularly the timing of it, and she asked if we could take a break and continue the interview later. So we brought Bob Benson in to discuss the tragic life of Aaron Churchill's niece Lottie, whom he raised as his own daughter.
Lottie may have stabbed a couple of people throughout her life. One was here at Churchill Mansion, and maybe a male servant, and maybe he deserved to being stabbed. That was picked up on, or has been at different times, by different psychics, as well as maybe a bit of history bears that out also. In Savannah, Georgia, supposedly she stabbed a maid in the house in Savannah. And that's documented in Savannah and recorded in a ghost publication of how she had murdered a person there. So all of this added to a very confusing life for Lottie, or Lotta. And she did eventually have a breakdown and was put in Belmont Hospital, a psychiatric hospital in the Boston area. It became a way of life for her completely, as far as we can tell. And actually then they bought her another mansion that she was living in, and I think the hospital looked after her at this mansion on Cape Cod. So she had the very best of things in that regard, but not the very best as far as her family existence in her life.
The spirit of the place is really strong, so whether that's just because they're here and they're thinking about the story, and the story of Lottie is so emotional that, you know, it affects people deeply, and that may be part of the reason of what's causing these strong dreams. All the dreams are different. There's not usually a pattern to them. Each one seems to have a completely different message.
After the interview with Karen, Paul and I decided to call it a night. I tried to fall asleep, but I had an overwhelming feeling that there was someone else in the room with me. It was so strong, and it made me so uncomfortable that I needed to speak to Paul, and I could not wait until morning.
I'd never seen Holly quite so shaken before. She was almost on the verge of tears. We chatted for about half an hour, and she finally fell asleep. I nodded off shortly thereafter, but the DVR cameras kept rolling and recorded what became a very strange and disturbing evening.
Throughout the entire evening, the cameras recorded one of the most restless nights I have ever experienced.
Holly wasn't the only one who found Lottie's room uncomfortable. Shortly after I fell asleep, I was suddenly woken up by a very intense chill. I had been lying on top of the blankets, but I quickly pulled them over me.
Meanwhile, as Paul and I were trying to get a decent night's sleep in Lottie's room, our DVR camera in the hallway picked up the door to one of our crew members' rooms opening and closing with no explanation. Back in Lottie's room, I was still having trouble sleeping. I remember feeling cold and trying to pull the blankets up around me and roll over, but found them weighted down around me. It was almost as if there was a person in the bed next to me. Now, if you look closely, it appears as if there is an unusual indentation, almost as if there is someone lying there. It was almost as if I knew something was wrong, because shortly afterwards I woke up. I could definitely feel something or someone in the room with me. I had felt uneasy at Churchill Mansion when I first arrived, but sleeping in Lottie's room that first night made it even worse. I felt as if I was being watched, often from the corner where Lottie had been seen, and it was not a pleasant experience. I eventually managed to get back to sleep, but I continued to have strange and disturbing dreams about Aaron and Lottie Churchill.
Holly and I woke up the next morning to discover that a snowstorm had hit the area overnight. We had to make a quick trip into Yarmouth for some food, and during the slow drive over the icy roads, Holly told me about the dream she had experienced.
So you had a weird dream about Lottie last night?
I had a number of dreams about Lottie last night, actually. Actually, I think you were there for one of them.
What, in the dream?
Yeah. Well, we were in the room and we were, I don't know. It's pretty strange.
Yeah. Oh, we're almost there.
When we get back to Churchill Mansion, Holly went upstairs to check on her email, while I decided to follow up on what had happened the night before with a little experiment of my own. I wanted to make use of the photo of Lottie that was hanging in the living room, which Bob had informed us was never moved, because to do so would inevitably lead to strange things happening.
Yeah, Lottie's picture came into the house one August afternoon, and immediately after that, for the next 3 days, and those were the years when tourism was great and we were booked full in advance, we had cancellations straight for 3 days. And I said, the only thing that's changed is Lottie's picture is here. I had the staff take her down, put that picture away, and everything resumed. 6 weeks later, I gave Lottie a talking to. We put her back on the wall. That's where she remains. We tried to move her at one point, and the same thing happened again as far as cancellations. So she's happy in that one corner. There's energy from that picture. If you should go there with a divining rod, the energy from that picture is very, very obvious. Much more so than the other picture hanging on any wall in the entire mansion. Explain it, I can't, but it's there.
Hello, Lottie. Here comes 100 years of bad luck.
Who is it? Paul, that better be you.
Hi, Holly.
How are you?
Hello, Paul Lottie.
Pilates. I could do some Pilates. So here we have the 100 years of bad luck for Paul and one night of spookiness for Paul and Holly.
You're bringing Lottie in here.
I'm bringing Lottie may already be in here.
No, she is.
Bringing her picture in here.
Yep.
To leave as sort of an object that may inspire Lottie if she isn't here to do whatever Lottie does. And is that a new chair?
Yeah, that's the haunted rocking chair.
You got a haunted rocking chair?
I do. It rocks by itself, apparently. They had to take it out of here because it was scaring the guests, and they put it up in the attic. But for me, they've brought it back down.
Guess what I've got?
Jacuzzi?
Yes, I have one of those, and I also have a haunted key.
The key to the den?
That's right.
The den that no one was allowed to enter?
Apparently.
Oh, where are we putting this?
The Widow's Walk, upstairs.
Why?
I don't know. It seems that's where Lottie or other women would have waited to see if their sailor captain sort of people would have come back in. So it might be a place of high energy. And even if it's not a place of high energy, it's really cool and spooky looking. So.
Good science.
Yes.
All right, get out of my room, let's go.
All right, fine. See you later, Lottie. Enjoy.
Oh, we'll be back. Actually, my room, Lottie's room.
All right, to the Widow's Walk.
Watch your head. Oh, this is nice.
Many people have gone up to the Widow's Walk. They have not felt comfortable going up the stairs or when they've got there, and almost to the point there was a real force when they got to the top. I have a really good friend that has hardly ever come in the front door because she does not feel comfortable coming over the area where there may have been a murder committed, out of Aaron's or Lottie's room, I should say.
All right, so the deal with this key, it's apparently it's never, ever left the property. Well, this isn't marking so well. People have actually thought that they've left with it, and then apologized, said they would return it.
Yeah.
And then Bob's gone out and found it in the grass somewhere.
I think that's probably good enough. We know where it is, so there we are. We've marked it with white chalk.
Chalk.
Yeah. Let's see for a sec.
What you doing? I could see that.
So if it's gone tomorrow when we come back up here, or later today rather, then something may have happened. And we've got a camera right here monitoring this room. So if anybody comes in here, or if Holly or I or somebody else were to come in here and try and sneak move it, that camera's going to pick it up. So if that thing gets moved, the only thing that could have moved it would be something paranormal. So we'll check tomorrow. All right.
After Paul and I finished placing the key in the Widow's Walk, I tracked down Bob and asked if I could have a chat with him about Lottie's room. I was still thinking about what I had experienced the night before, and I was having trouble coming to grips with a very profound feeling of sadness.
People have commented and said that they felt Lottie, they felt her presence, they felt a weight in their room. Have they commented on the emotion attached to that? Is there an emotion, or is it just more of an energy?
I don't know if there's any particular emotion. I don't. I think maybe we may hear different opinions of that too from different people. I don't think, other than there seems to be always a sadness. I guess I forgot about that part. They do talk about Lottie being sad. There's a feeling there of sadness.
During our journey together, I've developed the greatest respect for Holly's emotional resiliency, often in the face of some very stressful situations. In fact, I've come to rely on it to bolster my own courage when facing the unknown. She's normally a rock, which is why I was very concerned about the way that Churchill Mansion seemed to be affecting her. More than once, off camera and away from the crew, she broke down in tears and told me that she had no idea why she was feeling the way that she did, but that something about the house was clearly overwhelming her. As she talked to Bob, Holly hid her emotions well, but as we began our investigation that night in Aaron's room, I felt that I had to try and lighten the mood and put her more at ease.
See, I'm still stuck on the one back in Lottie's room where I was going to tell you that she was there.
Really? That would have been cool if you'd told me when we were in Lottie's room.
See, now I think that's creepy.
What? What's creepy?
Well, because then you'd ask me how I know, and I don't.
Well, it's not creepy. How is that creepy that I'd ask her how you know?
I wouldn't have asked, how do you know? Actually, you know what? I did that. You don't know me very well. It's not what I would have asked at all. I wouldn't have said that at all. I would have just assumed, maybe you're nuts, or maybe you're not. But I would have just assumed that you're feeling something. I wouldn't say, how do you know? Because you prefaced it by saying, I'm feeling something. So.
But I find it strange you don't feel anything. Do you choose not to?
Well, maybe there's nothing to feel.
Potentially. There's always something to feel.
I feel hungry. Hungry for love. Must be the dead.
Okay.
We're
Paul, don't you see how creepy that is?
Absolutely. That's not going in the show. I just thought I'd give Nathan or Aaron or somebody a little chuckle out there. Somebody's got to be listening.
I'm listening. I'm listening. I could tell what Paul was doing, and I really appreciated it. It definitely helped me feel a bit more at ease. Nothing anomalous happened in Aaron's room, so we called it a night. I didn't feel nearly as uncomfortable in Lottie's room the second night. Now, partly because of Paul, but also partly because of Lottie herself. I felt like it was almost as if we understood each other somehow, and she was okay with me being there.
All was quiet on the second night. The next morning, Holly and I checked on the Widow's Walk, where we found the key in the exact same position that we had left it in the night before. As we packed up our gear after a very interesting couple of days and nights at Churchill Mansion, there was one thing I had left to do. So we're putting the picture back after a relatively uneventful night. Wait, Holly? Lottie wanted to say goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye, Holly.
Bye, Lottie.
Goodbye, Holly.
Great, Paul.
There we go. Back she goes.
How do you know it was uneventful? It's my room. Well, no, it was her room, actually.
There she is.
Yep.
We didn't record anything at Churchill Mansion on either our audio or video equipment that we can definitively state was paranormal in nature. However, strange things, like the doors opening and closing without an explanation, definitely occurred. Most important to me is what Holly experienced. It was profound and powerful, and at times overwhelming. My faith in Holly's good judgment is so great that if she feels she encountered the spirit of Lottie Churchill, I believe her. As for Lottie herself, if she is still in Churchill Mansion, she isn't malevolent, just sad, confused, and lonely, much as she had been when she was still alive. All that Holly and I could do as we left was offer our hopes that someday she will finally find some peace.